Coming at you with another Transformers review. This time it's going to be a double review. We've got Transformers Generations Trailbreaker, or as he's known in this line, Trailcutter, and his mold mate, Hoist. So let's get these guys out of the box and see what they look like. Here we go. They both look pretty good, but honestly, I think the green of Hoist pulls off a little bit better in this mold than the black. It seems like you can just be able to pick out more of the details on Hoist than you can Trailbreaker. Not saying that Trailbreaker, I'm just going to call him Trailbreaker because that's his name. I know Hasbro couldn't get the copyright for the Trailbreaker name. They had to call him Trailcutter, but I'm going to call him Trailbreaker because that's his name. But it just seems like the lighter color of the green just lets you pick out more of the details in the molding. And it is they are pretty detailed figures. I will say that Trailbreaker is a little bit more finicky than Hoist. He just doesn't want to seem to hold together as well, especially here in the legs, because there's a couple posts and ports on here, in here and up here, and they just don't want to seem to kind of hold together on Trailbreaker. But Hoist actually pops in and he holds together pretty well. But all in all, it's a pretty great vehicle mode. They look a little small in hand, but their robot mode is actually, considering that they're deluxe figures. And when you look at the size of the vehicle modes, they look kind of small, but actually they do stand up to be pretty good sized robots. Of course, you can see the difference here in the detailing. We've got the stripes on Trailbreaker. We've got the caution signs, and then of course the big difference here is Trailbreaker has his camper bed with weapons up here, and then Hoist has his crane arm here, so that he can tow some other Autobots. And I actually think that this, honestly, too, pulls off a little bit better on Hoist, because the way it just folds up to become a gun, whereas this, they only really have it become a shield for Trailbreaker. Of course, there's a little bit of differences, but yeah, I actually like Hound. I actually like Hoist a little bit better than I do Trailbreaker. And it seems like that they did work a little bit on the mold when they did come out with Trailbreaker. When they did come out with Hoist. So we're going to go ahead and see what they look like in robot mode. Okay, so we're going to get into the transformation now. I'm not going to worry about transforming both of them because that would be pointless, as the transformation is identical. I am going to transform Trailbreaker because he does have a couple of issues that I want to talk about. The first being this piece right here with the Autobot symbol. It never wants to say pegged up when you're doing the transformation. It's actually supposed to be locked in like this one here on Hoist. I don't know why that one just always comes unpegged during the transformation. One thing I do want to show you with Hoist first, though, is his crane here. If you just pull it out right there, that little post and port right there, to make his gun, you just fold the hook in, fold the arm down, and then fold the mount under, and there's Hoist's gun. Nice little gun. Okay. One thing I do want to mention, the shoulder joint is right here, and what they did on this front wheel is the outside part of it is the only thing that actually turns on the wheel. And I like the way they did that because that leaves this stationary when you want to mess with the shoulder joint there. And it does roll, pretty good. As with most bots whose arms fold underneath, there's always a little bit of trouble with rolling. Never really liked bots where the arms just kind of fold under it. But these guys really do pull it off quite well. I like the way it works with these guys. Like I said, they do pretty good. But we'll go ahead and get into the transformation now. First thing you want to do is you want to take Trailbreaker's camper portion here, pull that off. We'll set that to the side. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Next thing you want to do, this kind of moves up. It doesn't really move out of the way, unfortunately, for camera work, but what you want to do is kind of loosen up the legs, and then they're on the double hinge joint right in here, but you just kind of pull them out, and they'll eventually just kind of set down in there. And then there is, if I can get it, there's a little post right there, and there's a port in there. It's kind of hard to see with all the black, but it just kind of sets in there like that, and it kind of pulls the leg out, makes him look a little bit better, and gives him just a little bit more stability. But go ahead and do the same thing with the other leg. Post him right in there, and the bottom half of Trailbreaker is done. This is a very simple and easy transformation. The next thing you want to do is the doors right here. You just kind of pull them out. Do that on the other side too. The cab wants to flip up. His arms, you just kind of get a better angle here so you can see everything. A little bit more. There we go. Alright. And the arms you just kind of pull out. You grab the wheels here and they'll flip out like that. They'll both just kind of spin around. And then we can mess with those a little bit later. But to finish with the arms anyway, you just kind of spin them forward and then flip the hand down. Do the same thing. Close this door up here. Turn the arm around. Flip his hand down. Alright, and to get his head out and to fold his chest in, first thing you want to do, like I said, this piece is supposed to be up in there like that, but it just seems to want to pop out. But you just push it down, and then you just kind of wrangle it down to where it will fold in like that. And then this whole piece actually separates right here to make his chest. So you just kind of fold that down, and then you just kind of pick up on it a little bit. And unfortunately you do, there it goes, you just kind of push it up like that to make his chest. Unfortunately I wish the Autobot symbol would have been visible, but that's not too big of a deal. But with the shoulders you just kind of, that's another thing, it doesn't really peg in down here. That would have been nice too, because it just seems to always want to flip back up when you're trying to work with him. But again, not a big deal. But the shoulders, you just kind of swivel around like that. Kind of tuck them in as best you can. Make it look as good as possible. They do have these little things right here that you would think might go over the rearview mirror here or something, but it just doesn't really look right that far forward. So I just always move it back here. I don't know if that was something that they were going to do and just didn't, or what, but it's there. Oh, the feet. I forgot. You got to flip the feet down. Okay. We can get him standing up, and we're going to do a head reveal. You just kind of lift up on this piece right there and spin it around. So there is Trailbreaker. And just to let you see him up close, there's Hoist. They do end up making some really nice robot modes. Trailbreaker seems to do a little bit better in robot mode than he does in vehicle mode. And again, though, I find myself drifting towards Hoist with his head sculpt here. As you can see, he kind of has the face plate, and I like that look for Transformers. It just seems a little bit better. And I don't know how a lot of people feel about this gun. At first, I really didn't like it. I thought it made kind of a weak gun. But now that I look at it, I'm starting to really like it. It does seem like it works as a gun a little bit. And again, I just think the green and the orange pull off much better than the black and the light red. As you can see on both bots, we have some bluing up here on the shoulders. That does tend to pop a little more with Trailbreaker. He even has some blue down here on his knees, whereas Hoist doesn't. But I still think overall I like the color apps on Hoist better. I just think Hoist works a little bit better all around than Trailbreaker does. And I've got Trailbreaker. I've got it as a backpack on it right now. I wish they would have made it where these would have folded down to have given him some guns. But with Trailbreaker, I usually like to, give him his force field generator. But again, with this thing, it's really supposed to be a shield for Hoist. I'll do that again so you can actually see it. But you fold this little interior piece up, and then hidden in here is a handle. And you're just kind of supposed to put it in his hand like this, and it just will transform. You can turn his hand around and do it like that, but I just don't think that works very well. I think it works better as a backpack than a shield. And I think it, might have should have turned into some kind of gun. And I just wish there was a way to, because it won't really work if you could, leave this up and fit the backpack on there, but it won't really do that. So I generally tend to leave that off when I'm displaying him, because it doesn't really work as a shield. But again, I'm drifting more towards Hoist, liking Hoist a lot better. It's just that the green color just tends to make this figure pop a lot better than this black. So yeah, if you're gonna get one, I recommend going with Hoist unless you're just a huge Trailbreaker fan. But I mean, other than that, they're pretty much identical figures. Hoist does seem to hold up a little bit better, especially in vehicle mode, than Trailbreaker does. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe to us. Thanks again.